Today is going to be a deep dive on the importance of understanding what's happening in the United States, a potential for World War III, what's going on in Ukraine, and also what's going on in Palestine and Israel. To help make sense of all of that, I have with me Gerald Celente. Gerald, thank you so much for coming on the show again.
Oh, I appreciate very much being on, because I also appreciate all that you do and the people that you bring on to inform them of what in the world is going on, because the mainstream media is nothing more than a bunch of little prostitutes, media whores that get paid to put out by their corporate pimps and government whoremasters. So I want to thank you for what you're doing, because you're giving people what they're not getting and, anymore. And so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been absolutely shocked by the propaganda we get versus actual journalism. I was just listening to a podcast with Roseanne Barr, the comedian, and she found out that her show was canceled. Her credibility was attacked because Michelle Obama made a phone call to the top person over at the network, and boom, she's taken out. So these elites, if you will, they have way more power over what goes out into the media than any of us would have ever guessed. Even a year ago, I had no clue how much power they have over what is being pumped into our minds every day.
And not only that, they run the whole world. They own everything. 1% own 54% of the equity markets. You put the 10% in, they own 90%. We're nothing more than plantation workers of Slavelandia. The little scum politicians have sold us out. Look at the money they get to run campaigns. They call America a democracy. Who the hell are you kidding? You got no money, you don't run. And you're going to get our money, you're going to do what you're told. Morons and imbeciles call it campaign contributions. Adults call it bribes and payoffs.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I just had conservative radio host Dr. Michael Savage on my show. During that conversation, he mentioned some of the things you're talking about with like Bill Clinton and other presidents and politicians. But he said, the media would have you believe Donald Trump is the most dangerous thing. But he said he believes it's actually George Soros infiltrating the justice system and controlling different media and how they're, trying to infiltrate our minds. What are your thoughts on George Soros and the crime waves across the United States?
Again, George Soros is just one of them. He's just one of them. Look what's going on. Look what's going on to all these hedge fund guys and all these other rich guys. How dare you condemn what Israel is doing? You're an anti-Semite, you're a lousy college student, and you're not going to get a job from us. Look what they're doing with all the universities, enforcing them not to allow people to come out against what Israel is doing. It's the rich in control of everything. They own the media. They own everything. They own everything. Soros is just one of the fronts that you see the face of. You don't see all the other ones behind the scene.
So how do little guys like you and me, how do we get through this world, the simulation, this, life experience if we have so little control over what we do and our influence compared to these elites?
Once upon a time, there was a thing called the French Revolution. Off with their heads. Now, I'm not saying off with their heads because I'm, as you know, I launched Occupy Peace. I'm a man of peace. And I'm a warrior for the Prince of Peace. So I'm not talking about that. But what I'm talking about is this is how the people revolt. We had enough of your crap. You start doing away with all. Look, they did away with the Robinson-Patman Act, Sherman Antitrust Act, Clayton Antitrust Act, the Glass-Steagall Act, one act after another that prohibited the bigs from owning everything. Put them back into place. Do away. When I was a young guy growing up in a Napolitano from the Bronx, we moved to Yonkers, and in those days, the Irish hated the Italians. And my brother, unfortunately, talked me going into Catholic school because I needed discipline. And an Irish nun beat me up and perforated my middle ear and broke my eardrum. I was only one of 3 of Italian kids in an all-Irish Catholic school. And it screwed my life up for a lot of years. I lost my balance. She left me back. I was the stupidest kid. Anyway, I'm mentioning this because when you're looking at the control levels of who's in charge, they hated Italians because they used to make fun of the mafia. How dare they charge these interest rates, 7-10% of people borrowing money? Those lousy guineas, those dirty wops. Hey, but I'm Citigroup. A master charge. I'll charge you 29% on your credit card. You got it? I'm in charge. Look at the usury laws. Look what they've done. Look what they've done. Look how the people are suffering. 30% almost on your credit card. Oh, and you were going after the Italians? Oh, but hey, another clan's doing it. It's okay. It's okay. So the people have to take charge. The people have to stand up and fight. And I'm a fighter. I also am a man of peace, but I'll attack the attacker. I taught close combat for many years. So I'm not a pacifist. And Americans have to stand up and fight against the crime syndicate that morons and imbeciles call a government. They're all paid off little clowns. That's the way, only way we could change it is an American revolution to bring back what our founding fathers fought for. And all that's been stolen from us. The people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, we have to unite for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Happiness is a dirty word. Close down your business. I'm little arrogant Gavin Newsom. Look at me. My daddy was with the Getty gang. He protected them as a lawyer. Close down your business. We got COVID. I'm little Andy Cuomo. Close down your business. I'm renaming the Tappan Zee Bridge after my daddy. The Mario M. Cuomo Bridge. You forgot to put the M in there. Take down the signs. Redo it. It only cost the plantation workers of slave land here $30 million. I'm a little clown boy by the name of Georgie Bush with a pecker the size of this and a pair of cojones smaller than a mothball. I'm launching the Patriot Act. I'm launching the war on terror. I'm giving you homeland security. I'm robbing you of your freedom. Do what you're told. That's what America's turned into. The clown show that goes slaughter people all over the world in the name of freedom and democracy while they rob it from us. If you don't swallow my crap, I'm your leader. You do what you're told. Anything that you don't believe that I shove out of my throat is misinformation. All right.
It's amazing how much crap they shovel our way, and then they wonder why we don't want to consume it.
Only the minority, but it does it not. It only takes an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, said Samuel Adams, to change this. And we are that irate, tireless minority. We have to unite.
Yeah. You've mentioned in the past to me on this show, in the Trends Journal, you've said that when economies are struggling, presidential numbers are struggling, they take us to war. We've been covering the Russia-Ukraine war now. We're covering the Israel-Gaza-Palestine war. Is the Biden administration going to milk these wars to help distract us and get reelected, or are they setting us up for something worse?
The wars are funded by, they steal our money to give to the military-industrial complex. And you don't have to believe me. Anybody wants to listen to Dwight D. Eisenhower's speeches about how the military-industrial complex is robbing the nation of the genius of the scientists, the sweat of the laborers, and the future of the children. Look who our defense secretary is. A former mass murderer general from Iraq, Lloyd Austin. What was his last job before he became Secretary of Defense? Oh, he sat on the board of directors of Raytheon, the second largest defense contractor in America. On the war, when all else fails, they take you to war. That's your Israel war going on now. You ask anybody. Hey, do you know about the 39 weeks of protests that were going on in Israel because of Netanyahu's Judicial Reform Act? The Judicial Reform Act basically said there's no court system anymore. The politicians are in charge. And Netanyahu, are being brought up on criminal charges. I won't have to go to court. 39 weeks of protests. Not my language. Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, Jerusalem Post, Times of Israel, and from Israel itself. There was a civil war going on in Israel. 39 weeks up until October 7th, when that terrible atrocity happened when Hamas attacked Israel and killed some 1,200 people. Not my language, out of the news. And again, that's what we do in the Trends Journal. We show you what's been reported, and then we give our trend analysis of what was reported and our trend forecast. So you know we're not skewing it. People have no idea of the trouble Netanyahu is in. And the facts are coming out from the mainstream media. The United States warned Israel of the Hamas attack. Egypt warned them of the Hamas attack, and the Israeli security warned Netanyahu of the Hamas attack. That was coming. Let it come. Same thing with 9/11. What happened before 9/11? You want to again, when all else fails, they take it to war. People don't remember the dot-com bust. They don't remember how little George Bush's popularity was in the toilet, how the United States was going deep into recession. Then all of a sudden 9/11 happens. Oh, totally forgot about it. Now let's create something fake. We'll call it the housing boom. You don't have a job. You don't got no money. You're deep in debt. Don't worry about it. Here, sign over here. You get a subprime mortgage. I'm from the bankster gang. Do what you're told. And again, in your Trends Journal, we had forecast back in, I see it somewhere. Here it is. Trends Journal, October 1999. .com this. .com overload will short circuit many high expectations for huge profits in internet commerce, entertainment, and a wide array of .com services. Following the holiday season, many of today's high-flying internet stocks, the hottest IPOs, and newly emerging IPO wannabes will have begun a deep descent from their overvalued heights. And we go on to say that would crash by the second quarter of 2000. But again, when all else fails, they take you to war. World War III, going back to Ukraine, what Ukraine war are you talking about? There's no Ukraine war anymore. The news is not reporting it. They were reporting it every day, out of the news. Go back to your Trends Journal. You get it. Before the war started, we said Ukraine's going to lose. You're not going to beat the Russians. Hitler couldn't beat the Russians. They killed over 20 million in Operation Barbarossa, destroyed the land, according to JFK, the equivalent of houses, farms, and factories from Chicago East. They were the first ones to defeat the Germans. Napoleon sent in 1812 over 420,000 troops to attack Moscow, came back with 10,000. What makes you think you're going to beat them? And then we had our covers, don't count on counteroffensive, as everybody was promoting it. So what I'm saying is they're going to keep the war going and watch out for a major attack by Ukraine on a nuclear power plant or a major attack on Russia to get back in the news, or a false flag attack. They're going to get back in the news. They're going to keep this war going. World War III has begun, and if we don't stop it, it's going to be end of life on Earth. Israel, anybody know about the Samson option? Read about it. They have nuclear weapons, and they say if they're going to lose, they're going to do everything they can to win, and they're going to go nuke.
Going back to the news, I was reading the other day that the only reason CNN was able to avoid failure was they covered the Middle East war 24 hours a day. Now, look, they cover Ukraine because they're losing trust with the American people, and they're losing ad revenue faster than they've ever lost. Now this Ukraine Russia war falls into their lap as a blessing. And I'm not calling it a blessing. I'm saying they see it as a blessing. The Israel-Palestine war is a blessing. They've got 24-hour news cycle again. Are they pimping this war and these deaths for profits?
They do everything for profit. That little scumbag, that guy, Jeff Zucker, that used to be the head of CNN over there, used to run the show. Again, not our language. I'm calling him a scumbag. That's my language. An arrogant little boy. Go back to when the COVID war began. January 2020. Launched by China on Chinese Lunar New Year, the year of the rat. January, February. Article in Wall Street Journal. Zucker tells the CNN team as their ratings are going into the toilet where they should flush Zucker down and the rest of the little clowns. Stay on this COVID. We got to keep promoting this. Our ratings are going up. So they started selling the COVID fear. They're media whores. They're prostitutes that get paid to put out by their corporate pimps and their government whoremasters. And again, that other murderous bastard who every time he got caught with his pants down, Bill Clinton, he's the guy that destroyed the media when he deregulated the media with the Federal Communications Act of 1996 and allowed the bigs to buy up everything. Now you have 5 or 6 companies that control almost 95% of the media. So that's all it is. All they're interested in is making money, and they'll do anything they can to do it. But we really have to change this topic because we're going too much on this because searches for Taylor Swift ornaments explode by 1,150% following the singer's latest drop of her holiday merchandise. All right? Taylor Swift. What the hell do I care if who she's screwed? What's going on with Taylor? What the hell do I care about this? By the way, these articles, Taylor Swift is on CNN. This isn't People Magazine. This is on all the sites. what they call mainstream media. I give a shit what Taylor Swift is doing. By the way, when I used to number 2 guy running a major trade association, when I was a young man, I put on a concert after our trade show with Ella Fitzgerald and took over the convention center in Atlanta. I mean, Ella Fitzgerald compared to Taylor Swift, took over the Superdome, put on with Dionne Warwick. And I got this clown shit going on, and this is news. The people have no deal. The vast majority don't have a clue what's going on.
Well, and wasn't the NFL also milking Taylor Swift because their ratings were starting to go down, and suddenly every game she comes to, are they kissing behind the scenes? And it's like they're trying to use like the goodness of Taylor Swift and her music to distract it. It reminds me of Rome, right? We will build a Colosseum and we will entertain them so they don't realize they're drinking poisoned water. Inflation is robbing them of everything. It's entertainment to distract us all.
Perfectly said, because it's just as with the decline of the Roman Empire, as it was going down, here we are in America, going to crap, brought to you by crapheads. Yeah. You made it perfectly clear what you said.
Yeah, thank you for that. I don't like being right on some of these things, people's lives are on the line.
I like being right on them,
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sure it's a burden to feel that way sometimes. President Erdogan of Turkey has been very vocal about the destruction in Gaza and Palestine. Now, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, has said this war has to end now, or else he's going to wake up the Middle East against Israel. We are heading for a world war.
No, we're in it already. We're in it already with the Ukraine. Again, our Trends Journal magazine on February 22nd, 2022. COVID war, Ukraine war, world war. These things keep escalating. Now you got the Middle East. And again, I read all the articles about Erdogan, what he said. And again, the propaganda that's being sold. Let me see here. Where is it? Now, here we go. Turkey's Erdogan calls Israel a terrorist state, criticizes the West. While we curse the Israeli administration, we do not forget those who openly support these massacres and those who go out of their way to legitimize them. He said, pointing to the United States. We are faced with a genocide. Ankara will take steps to ensure Israeli settlers in occupied Palestine territories are recognized as terrorists, he said, and goes on and on and on. And again, think of the word occupied territories. Occupied territories? Settlers? How about stealers? How about land stealers? Could you say that? They're in violation of the Geneva Conventions since 1967. Settlers, they're illegally stealing land. Oh, and now with the Hamas thing going on and the war going on, they just killed some 200 Palestinians in the West Bank, and they're stealing more land. This is in violation of Article 242 of the United Nations. So don't call them settlers. And then, you ready? This is Netanyahu. America is next if Israel loses war. Netanyahu implored Israeli allies for support during a sit-down with Fox's Sean Hannity. Quote, we have to win, you ready? Not only for our sake, but for the sake of the Middle East. What did you just say about Turkey and Saudi Arabia? What is Netanyahu talking about? Then he goes on to say, as well as for the sake of our Arab neighbors and the world at large. Quote, we have to win to protect Israel. We have to win to safeguard the Middle East. We have to win for the sake of a civilized war. That's the battle we're fighting, and it's being waged right now. There is no substitute for that victory. You ready? If we don't win now, then Europe is next, and you, the United States, are next. Who the hell is he talking to? Who are you, BS? What are you talking about? We're next. Europe's next. Now let's go back just a little bit. If we don't stop those Russians in Ukraine, before you know it, it's going to be Finland. And it's going to be Sweden. And there's going to be war across Europe. Same crap. When I was a young man, young boy, 18 years old, prime draft meat for the Vietnam War. Prime, every day I used to wake up and they're going to get me, they're going to get me. And by the way, to make this clear, I was too stupid to believe the lie. I believed what the mainstream media was saying back then. The only reason I didn't go was because they didn't want to get killed. If we don't stop those commies in Vietnam, those dominoes will keep falling. They'll take over Asia. And before you know it, those dominoes will hit the shores of California. Same crap being spewed out of the mouth of Netanyahu. On and on and on. And America, Blinken boy, and the rest of them with Ukraine. Same crap, different time. Same crap coming out of the mouth of crapheads. Little boys who couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag. Little Joe Biden, he's 3 years older than me. Prime draft meet. 5 draft deferments he got. His last one was he has asthma. This is the clown boy dead in front of everybody's eyes that used to brag what a great athlete he was. Wait a minute, you're a great athlete in college, but you can't go fight in Vietnam? One little clown after another. Draft dodgers. Little Georgie Bush, his daddy got him in the Texas National Guard. One little jerk after another. They love war. Little Bill Clinton, another draft dodgering little bastard. Not a war he didn't love. Again, not my language, the language of Madeleine Albright, not all that bright, may she rot in hell, the former UN ambassador, United States ambassador to the UN, brought on 60 Minutes when Leslie Stahl asked her, are the sanctions that Bill Clinton's putting on Iraq and what else he's doing with the bombings worth the price of 500,000 Iraqi children dead under the age of 5? And Madeleine Albright says, yes, it is. That's who's running the show. Draft dodgers, liars, freaks, and fools. Look at that little Lindsey Graham, a clown boy that couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. Not a war that he'd never loved. And this is the guy that's saying, not my language, is that this is a religious war going on in Israel that we have to become involved in. What the hell am I becoming involved in a religious war for?
You know, I find your Trends Journal to be so helpful in seeing through the bullcrap, seeing through to the future, an education like no other about the past. If people want to sign up for the Trends Journal and be kept in the loop, is the best way for them to do that just to go to the Trends Journal and sign up?
Well, the best way to do it is to using your post over there to tell them that they signed up because of your show, and we give them a 10% discount.
Okay. So if they use code Gardner like last time, they'll get 10% off?
That's right.
Okay, I'll make sure to.
And so now we're talking about a magazine that you see is well over 170 pages, 160 pages a week. You can listen to it and you read what you want. We cover the world, but not only in geopolitics, economics, AI sections, technocracy, health, fitness, nutrition, high-tech science, on and on. I mean, we cover the world in so many different ways. We're talking about around $2 a week, a lousy cup of, not even cheaper than a lousy cup of coffee. So again, I want to make this also clear what's going to happen economically. We had forecast, so all their facts are there, that the markets were going to go up. We forecast that last November, that the S&P would go up at least 16%. We went over that. We said in July that they would go down in September and October. They did. So here's the story of what's next. They're going to be lowering interest rates in the United States and the EU. Again, you get the magazine, you're seeing all the countries that are going into recession. Japan's numbers came out, they're in the toilet. Their yen is at a 30-year low. Germany's in recession. Denmark's in recession. One country after another is in recession. The EU is in recession. UK is going down. The ECB and the Feds they're going to keep interest rates steady for the rest of this year and then lower them sharply in 2024. In the United States, they do it all the time in the run-up to the presidential reality show. Look who our Treasury Secretary is. Ms. Fatja Brut, Janet Yellen. What was her last job? The head of the Federal Reserve. Wait a minute. The former Fed head is our Treasury Secretary? Who's running your government? Who's running the government? The banksters. They want to keep that in power. They're going to do everything they can to boost this economy up with low interest rates. What does that mean? Well, among the many things it means, and we write about it in the magazine, many things in real estate and on and on. It's the beginning of the death of the dollar. The only reason the dollar is strong is because interest rates are high. Once interest rates go down, the dollar is going to collapse. The world has had enough of America's geopolitical and economic hegemony. We were very strong after World War II when everybody was wiped out. Times have changed. So when interest rates go down, the dollar goes down, and gold prices go very high. And we're still bullish on Bitcoin as we have been. And again, we have the numbers when they go up, when they go down, and where we see them going. You get places like Argentina where they have an inflation rate of like 150%. So people don't want to hang on to their money anymore. So they're buying cryptos. And this is what's driving a lot of that market, because they're seeing their currencies and these crises going on. So they're going into that. On the other end, the real estate market. We're going to have a banking crash, the likes of which we've never seen. And we're the only ones that were talking about it going on almost 3.5 years. The office building bust. Your office occupancy rate, according to Castle Systems with a K, is 49.6% of the 10 largest cities in America. New York Post came out with an article a few weeks ago. Foot traffic in New York City down 33%.
So there's no one in the buildings working, and there's nobody out spending money, and we're waiting for this to catch up with us.
So not only that, then you have they have revolving loans, floating loans. So now the loans are up, they got to pay more because interest rates are higher. They paid nothing loans before. They got less tenants, people aren't renewing their lease. Now all the businesses that depended on commuters are going out of business. New York City is a crap show. You got homeless all over the place, migrants all over the place. And it's very different. I'm a New York guy, lived there a lot of years. When people used to come up, the homeless coming up and begging, where people like out of their mind kind of. This is different now. Homeless people are really homeless. It's a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
So people leaving these cities and they're moving to like where I am, Kingston, New York, they're flooding up here. This is the first capital of New York State. There are more pre-Revolutionary War stone buildings here than anywhere else in America. And young people. The nightlife is dead. Dead. Ain't no more nightlife like it used to be. Woodstock is 15 minutes away from me. I used to go to Woodstock all the time, man. Having a great time. All the bands, all the stuff. Dead. 10 o'clock at night. Dead. Maybe one place has lousy music. Dead. Let's go back to the numbers.
Okay.
The office vacancy rate. Vacant. Not occupancy. Vacant. It's about 18% in the United States. These buildings, no, politicians, save your crap that you keep spewing out. They're non-convertible for housing. The ones built in the last 50 years. These are just big empty boxes. How are you going to pay the loans on this? We're going to see a banking bust, the likes of which we've never seen. The Silicon Valley thing was just a blink. First Republic, just a blink. Because the medium and small size banks hold most of these loans. The commercial real estate sector, there's trillions of dollars of loans coming up, and they're not going to be able to pay them off. Here, keep the building. Don't want it.
Wow.
And that's why, again, I do not give financial advice. We tell you what's going on, how we see it, and where it's going. To me, gold and Bitcoin are number one.
Interesting.
And then silver.
They need to start putting out those yes vacancy signs, like the old roadside hotels and motels. No vacancy. Yes, vacancy, please. Come and rent from us. Let's get this.
And not only here, it's a global. You look at what's going on in China. Their exports last month were down 6.8%. And they've been down since May, going down more than that. That means the whole world isn't buying stuff. Look at Maersk, the big shipping firm. You know how much their profits are down this year? This is the world's biggest shipping firm. 95% slump in profits. Yeah.
Oh.
Peru in a recession, one country after another. Now, again, this is what we do. You have to look at all the trends. Oh, you think you have a refugee crisis? Hasn't even begun yet. As people leave their places because they have lack of basic living standards, government corruption, crime and violence. I want to get out of here. Got to go someplace. No, this thing is just coming down big. It's just starting to happen. And again, the office building bust, no one talks about it. Virtually no one talks about it because they know how bad it is. And again, not my language, but this is what we do all the time. 80% of American households are in worse financial position now than they were before the COVID pandemic. The latest Federal Reserve study revealed a concerning trend among American households, particularly those outside the wealthiest 20%, according to the Bloomberg report. All right? So I'm not making this up. So the worst is yet to come financially. The lowering of interest rates is only going to prop up the equity markets for a little while. Some sectors of real estate are going to go up. Others are going to go down dramatically. So the people better prepare for the worst because the worst is yet to come.
Yeah, the 80% that you're talking about are the 80% that watch my show. Like it's not the uber wealthy that are watching me.
No,
It's the
no.
regular American working as hard as they can, being taxed to death every way that America can take
Yep.
money from them to finance these wars and their pet projects and get reelected. And we're the ones just bleeding all of our money back to the government.
Yep. They're stealing it from us. Again, look at the clown that made the Federal Reserve, Woodrow Wilson. This is the guy that gave us World War I. This is the clown that gave us federal income tax. This is the guy that gave us the IRS. Again, it's to cover your trends journalist week. Follow your leaders. Do what you're told. You're nothing more than a piece of crap.
Yep. Yep.
Who the hell are these people that talk? I wasn't put on this earth to be led. I don't lead anybody. Nobody's going to lead me. And that's what they have to be. We need people power, not political power. We are on the verge of World War III's begun. How did World War I begin? World War I began when they assassinated the Archduke Ferdinand in Sarajevo. Oh, they teach you that in school. Yeah, nothing was leading up to it. What the hell's an Archduke and who cares? And what the hell are you doing in Sarajevo?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's already happening. They're going to use one event to make it happen. Here, World War II. I do a podcast each week with Judge Andrew Napolitano, Gerald Celente channel. And we're talking about World War II. And he said, yeah, the Americans put sanctions on Japan and cut off their oil. No. So I go to type in Google. President Roosevelt put sanctions on Japan. Type it in. Comes up History Today. Mainstream. In July of 1941, President Franklin Roosevelt seized all Japanese assets. Why did he do that? Why, those dirty Japanese? They invaded French Indochina. Wait a minute. Number one, what the hell do I care what the Japanese did over there? I'm an American. I believe in the founding fathers to protect our nation and not get involved in foreign entanglements. And number two, what the hell are the French doing there and calling it Indochina? Oh, you mean they're stealing their tin and their rubber, raping, robbing, and pillaging? How dare those Japanese go in there? Gets better. And you know what those Japanese did? They took over Cameron Air Force Base. This is in History Today, which is 800 miles away from where the United States had troops in the Philippines. What the hell are we doing in the Philippines? And the Dutch and the British united with the United States because also the Japanese were very close to the British who were in Singapore. Oh, the sun never sets on the British Empire. They should do anything they want. The United States, the Dutch, and the British put sanctions on Japan and cut off 3/4 of their global trade and 88% of its imported oil. They only import 100% of their oil. They don't got anything. They cut off their trade. That's a trading country. Can't understand why they bombed Pearl Harbor. I can't figure it out. Maybe you could help me answer that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is there's going to be a false flag event. They're going to make up something or something will happen. And just as 9/11 happened, where people follow little Georgie Bush, the Patriot Act that robbed us of our freedom, went into the Afghan war, the longest war in American history. People swallowed it. 88% of the people swallowed the crap coming out of that little craphead's mouth. And by the way, that's when I started getting blacklisted from all the media. I used to be on Oprah. I was on Oprah twice. I used to be on Good Morning America all the time, Fox, CNN, everybody, all the time. I said, we'd lose the Afghan war. What do you mean we'll lose the Afghan war? I said, listen, if Alexander the Great couldn't pull it off, if the British couldn't pull it off at the height of the British Empire, and it just brought the Russians down, we lost the Vietnam War. How do you think we're going to win this one? Why, you anti-American? Why you don't look up to the little clowns running the show like we do? We don't want you here anymore. Not that Celente was 100% right and we were full of crap. Come on, Celente, what's next? No, we don't want you on because you're a man of peace and knowledge. We hate you.
Wow. Well, you've been right about a lot. That's why I like your Trends Journal. That's why I like bringing you on. I know that these are heavy times. I appreciate you having a voice and the courage to help us understand what's really going on.
I've been having nightmares week after week because of what's going on in Gaza. I'm seeing these pictures of these people and reading the headlines, and I'm getting nightmares. Freaked out. There's nothing that makes sense. It's like, Then I wake up and I say, it's only a newspaper I'm reading. I got to get this out of my head. I try to go back to sleep. I can't. I go back to sleep. I start dreaming of a stupid thing again. Of slaughters going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Before we started, I said I thought this would be a somber conversation, and how could it not be? How could it not be? We're up against a lot.
Yep.
And I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate all the research you and your team do, and the journal that you put out, so that we can, like I say, see through the fog. The fog of war is what we're all really living through right now. So
it's so big in so many ways. Did you see the study that came out that the average age of death now for men in the United States is 73 years old?
It went backwards?
Yeah.
By a lot.
Yeah. So I'll be 77. It's like 4 extra years, I mean, and again, so all those vaccinations that they've been giving us, they've been working perfectly. I mean, everybody's in great. Look at the crap that people eat. Look at the again, one of the covers of the magazine was blimpitis, just and again, so the whole country's going down in so many different ways. That's why I'm mentioning that. We need a renaissance. The Romana all'antica, in the manner of the Romans and the ancients, they said, to describe the quality of their work, because they knew that they was destroying themselves with the Black Plague. It was the people brought it on themselves, the sanitation conditions. So they went back to the past to create the beauty of the past. And to me, that's the only way it's going to change, is a renaissance. We have to bring back the spirit of America that our founding fathers and our ancestors came here to. And again, I know about the United States, how they slaughtered all the Native Americans, totally against that. But also, it was also the land of freedom, after they did that. And we have to bring it back, that spirit. I mean, look what the music used to be like. Look how the cats used to dress, how cool they were. Now it's one bad rap.
Yeah. I just watched something about the rap industry, but we're over time. I know how valuable your time is. I could sit and talk to you the whole day. Thank you very much for coming on. I'm going to put a link to Trends Journal down below, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. And thank you for all that you're doing. I appreciate it very, very much. And so do all the people that are tuning in.
Great. Thank you, Gerald. Bye-bye.